All right, everybody, welcome back to Blast the Process 2, continuing with that Sonic RPG that you know you want. Carried on by Smelly McTroll. Take it away, brother. Good luck.
What's up, guys? So we're gonna jump into it like right off the bat here. I guess as soon as I delete this file. So yeah, timer's actually gonna start after I press new game. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right. So Sonic Chronicles. This game was clearly made with the intention to try to rival the Mario and Luigi franchise. You can see a lot of similarities as we go along. So the first is going to be these field abilities.
AFK right now.
So Sonic's field ability is really just to run fast, go around those what they call speed zones.
I'm gonna try to drag him back in here.
And just like every other Sonic game, for the most part, we start off at a plainsy kind of zone. In this case, it actually is Green Hill Zone. And really our objective here is to get Sonic to level up. So I just took a side quest up there. All you have to do is chop one log, and then talk to the old man again, and you get 50 XP. And then we get 2 force encounters. This is the first. Sometimes Sonic gets a crit here. And you can actually kill him in 3 hits, but it doesn't look like that's happening. So we just get a 4th hit in there. It's all good. And that's actually pretty good. We got a revival ring. And then we're going to go down here and meet up with our first party member. And the important thing here is not to get caught in the text loop. So Amy is going to come up and she's going to smash these crates to pieces. 1, 2, 3. And as soon as the dialogue switches back to Tails, we want to take the second option. If you take the first option and you just keep mashing through that, the dialogue actually loops back around. And before you realize it, you've already lost like 30 seconds. Okay, so this is our second force encounter. And I like to call this zone basically just a tutorial alley. So this is where we learn to do basically everything. And this is the escape sequence for the game. Whether the enemies are running away from you or you are running away from the enemies, you'll have to play this little mini game. There are boxes. The boxes slow you down. Jumps actually slow you down too. Just a little tiny bit. There are some rings occasionally. Oh wow, that was actually a great fight. So, Amy actually did more damage than normal there. So, that guy went down to two hits. And then we want to take another encounter. We actually got ambushed, so that kind of sucks. We might end up having to heal Amy, depending on how this fight goes. Yeah, she's under 20, so we're gonna have to heal her. But she's actually on point. Oh wow, this is actually really good. It's really good. So your attack rating is actually really low when you start out, and your attack rating governs basically it's your accuracy. Okay, we want to take fastball here. Yeah, so your accuracy is pretty bad in the beginning. And we just want to run over and grab the boxing gloves. And then I'm gonna menu, but I'm actually gonna wait since we need the healing item that we're gonna get from here. Yeah, so the reason we actually want Sonic to level up is so he can get that fastball. It makes this first fight go a little bit faster. And with the boxing gloves, it goes even faster. So we want to drop a health seed onto Amy. And fight kind of the first mini-boss. So this is a Marauder, and we'll be seeing these guys quite frequently throughout the run. And since we have a power move, which is basically your magic in this game, works a little bit differently though, we get kind of a tutorial. And one thing I like about this game as a speedrun is that you have to earn everything. So you use a power move, and a power move bridges onto an action. So you have some touchscreen action. Just like that. Enemies also have power moves, and if you get the action correct, then you can dodge them. Some of them are no miss, so you're going to take damage or get a status anomaly no matter what. But that was actually a really good fight. And now we're going to go right down into Central City. And our kind of hub for the first 3 chapters of the game is just going to be Green Hill Zone, Central City, and then we're going to go to Mystic Ruins eventually. Right now we're going to go in here, we're going to talk to Tails. We're going to get Tails to join up with us. And then we're going to go to what is really like the boss fight of this chapter. So we get these SWAT bots. If you've ever read the Archie comics, you might recognize these guys. I believe they're also on the, they used to be on the Sonic Saturday morning cartoons. Okay, so a good rule of the speedrun that pretty much holds true for the majority of it is that Sonic goes first. So we're going to be able to kill one of these drones right off the bat before they can even act. And that's good because they have a power move. Well, I guess it's really less of a power move, more of an ability called Evade. So that guy just used it. Doesn't make them impossible to hit, but it does lower your chances quite a bit, as you see there. So essentially, you waste a turn if they do that. Okay, so he still had that on. This is gonna take a few more rounds than we normally take to get through this, unfortunately. Yikes. It's kind of bad, actually. We do have a revival ring we can use. Not a huge fan of using that early on, but what are you gonna do? Oh man, dude, this is not going well. Amy, please kill this guy. Okay, we're back in here. So the reason I'm not hitting the SWAT bot and I'm solely trying to go after this this drone is because SWAT bots have to be knocked out at the same round everything else is knocked out. Otherwise, they use an ability called self-repair, and they just get back on. This is not the best opening, but we should be able to close it out. Okay, now he's defending. Now he just decided to defend. This is an example of bad R&D here. So at worst, we only had one more round on that. And Amy, we want to allocate all her bonus points to speed. And Tails, we want to allocate his bonus points to defense. And that's Chapter 1. So the rest is just mashing through text. And I guess this is pretty much average. I know, my PB for this area was actually pretty good. Okay, so chapter 2. The objective for this chapter is to find Knuckles. So the Marauders are pretty much hiding out in like an old Eggman hideout, and we have to locate that. First step in the process, though, is to find Eggman communicators, which Tails is going to build into a kind of a detector at the end of this chapter. So, to get started, we have to solve this puzzle. And it's relatively simple, and more or less just a tutorial for how the puzzles are going to be later on, where you have to get all 4 of your characters involved. And all you have to do is hook up that pipe over there, and then set it in place, and then we can continue on. And this gets us across the rooftops of the city. And just an important note, after you finish a puzzle, you always regroup on the last character that was used. And we want to buy Blue Bomber here. So that's going to get us through the next couple of chapters, actually. Okay, so there are no random encounters in this game. You can see all the enemies on the overworld. That being said, you can kind of manipulate them, like a little bit, just like this. I'm actually not going to get away from those guys. But you can manipulate them in such a way that it will create space for you just to slip right past them. So this is fine. Usually if you fly to the other rooftop and you fly back, you can catch those wasps in a spot where you can just go right over them. These guys, pretty much your chances of avoiding them is nil. But the other enemies in this area are easily avoidable, luckily. Just have to wait till they're in a certain spot and then just walk right past them. Simple as that. And this minigame, all you're doing is just tapping the characters to make them jump. They run automatically. Okay, so for this guy, we're gonna wait till he's right about here, and slip right past him, go over here, grab this item box. And then wait. Oh. Wait again for this guy. And then go through here, and we want to wait till this guy is in a certain spot right near that spring, and get caught by him, apparently. But anyway, that's the last one we really have to avoid to get to the objective. So we're going to get 4 Eggman communicators. The 4 Eggman communicators are guarded by 4 SWAT bots. Or 2 SWAT bots, rather. 2 SWAT bots per little hideout. And all these fights go pretty much the same way. And we got an ambush, so that's pretty good. Because these guys can defend and take some damage away from your blue bomber, like that guy's doing now, actually. And what we want to do now is kind of manipulate the stack. So we want to use a random item with Sonic, and then we want to use these blue bombers. And the reason you do that is so Amy can actually buff Sonic. So you do more damage with the POW move. So her Blow Kiss move actually gives Sonic Empowered State, it raises his damage, and this move already has a pretty big damage multiplier. So we've hit 1, 2, and that's good, and it doesn't matter if this guy defends. So we go 1 and 2 and knock him out. And of course, SWAT bots both have to be knocked down at the same time. So that's our first communicator. That's 1 of 4, and I'm actually gonna grab some more items since we used a few more than I would have liked in that first boss fight. So let's see. That guy needs to get right there, then we can avoid him. That was supposed to happen on the way in as well. So now we're gonna run over to the other one in Central City, but we're gonna stop in here real quick. So Tails' workshop is, with this game, counts as a stronghold. And once you go into a stronghold, your party is totally refreshed. So power points and HP. So we sit on a few more resources going into the next fight. And if these guys don't defend, these are all the same. Let's see, we can just use the health seat now, I guess. Just spin that. Blue bomber, low kiss, and defend for the rest. Yeah, so... yeah, the art direction in this game is pretty good, honestly. The title cards being the best of it, in my opinion. Unfortunately, the rest of the game is kind of a mess. If you haven't picked up on the music yet, the music is not that great. Not BioWare's best effort. It's kind of by a long shot, honestly. Okay, communicator number 2. Now we're going to go back up to Green Hill Zone. So we need to clear out 2 up there as well. Okay, and another note, when the maps load back in, the enemies reset to a certain position, so you can avoid them if you know where they're gonna spawn. So like with that guy there, he always kind of spawns to the right of that manhole, so if you run left, you can get away from him. And some of these evasions are a little difficult, especially given that this is a pure touchscreen game. So the only thing that's not touchscreen is like the actions. You can press the start button actually and to bring up the menu. It doesn't do much though. And most of the time it's not even that responsive. You're much better off tapping the menu in the touchscreen. And then the L and R buttons you can use to take field actions. So we can avoid this guy. And that guy's a little difficult to actually avoid on the way out. I'm going to try to avoid him, but don't really know how it's going to pan out. We might end up getting an encounter. That's actually good. It was really good. That guy's defending somehow. Oh, good. That's actually real nice. It's real nice damage. So you don't control what your party does on an ambush, unfortunately. I really wish you could. That would make some of these strats a little bit easier to pull off. But, you know, you take what you can get. See, that guy was defending. So our damage went down there a little bit. Luckily he had under 80 HP. So we just knocked him out anyway. So Amy's all speed. She needs to gain another level so we can get Blowkiss level 2. Communicator 3 of 4. I'm gonna grab some more items. And I think that'll be the last one I grab. Oh, okay. So, I started moving, but my stylus was a little too close to the character, and Rouge started walking instead of running, which is a common problem, actually. With these finicky touchscreen controls. Yeah, so if she were to run, then I would have gotten away from him. Let's see, these wasps are at least easy enough to get away from. And we just do that. I'm gonna run around this way, that way there's no problems. And we're gonna go right to this puzzle. Second puzzle is pretty easy as well. So how this one works, pretty simple. You just step on a switch, it drops a plank. So you just want to reserve one of your flying characters. So we have Rouge. She goes right across there, she drops the third plank, and then you can use any other character. We have Amy left over to jump right across and hit the fourth one, bridging the gap. And you gotta watch out because there's actually a pair of wasps that come screaming out of the top of the screen. So you want to go down here and really just wait for a second for them to, well, I guess they just really liked me this time. But they're running, so let's go ahead and reverse what we do normally. So we want to slow down a lot so they get away. And now you're going to see the difference between enemies running away from us and us running away from enemies. So if they run away from us and they're successful, they're permanently removed from the map. So real good. And we want to come up here and actually initiate Cream's side quest. So we're going to recruit her a little bit later, but we just want to set it up right now so we can complete it. And for this hideout, you have a 100% encounter rate, basically, when you walk outside. Because the way that guy spawns on the map, he's essentially right in front of the door. So unless you actually get into an encounter and beat him, you're gonna be fighting him. Okay, so 4-4, and we're a little bit stronger here. And we got an ambush anyway, which is great. But it actually doesn't matter if they defend. Since at this point, Blue Bomber does enough damage to actually just take them out outright. Yeah, so these guys are going to act. Doesn't really matter. And I'm just defending because the attack animations take a little while to actually start up and go all the way through in this game. So the less you attack, really, the better. Kind of want to... I don't know what I want to say here. Just want to get more damage, more mileage off of less attacks, I guess. Alright, so that's basically the end of Chapter 2. We get that communicator, and then Tails does a little wizard job and puts them all together. Okay, good thing we didn't get any ambush, good or bad here. So we're just gonna run away from these guys like normal. And continue on with our lives. And now is the first time we're gonna see Mystic Ruin Zone. I'm just gonna run around here again so we don't have any problems. It cost a few seconds, so we're going the direct route. but I'd rather go this way than to take those encounters. So we're just going to run to the bottom of the map, right where that big star is. Once we get down there, there's going to be a policeman. It tells us the road's closed. So we just need to find another way into Mystic Ruins. And that way is actually going to be the handy-dandy tornado, you know, that they built up in Sonic 2. So we just run back into Tails' workshop real quick. We have a chat with Tails. And that spawns the tornado outside. So we just hop in and go. And we're gonna get our next party member here, who actually has probably one of the best sounds in the game. So we just walk right over to this poison gas, which is very, very dangerous, but, you know, it doesn't matter to Big. He comes out and he just walks right through it. And his laugh, dude. You gotta love that laugh. Like, in a game full of, like, mediocre sound effects, I think that's probably one of the best. So our party just becomes Tails and Amy. We want to buff his defense and also his Froggy Rain. And this is one of the only 2 maps in the game that requires you to have a character that is invulnerable. There are only 2 characters in the game, coincidentally, that have invulnerable, and that's Big and Omega. And we actually don't get Omega in this speedrun. Okay, so we're gonna get an extra ring. For some reason, there's a ring underneath there. And for this puzzle, we just get our character set up on these switches. Get the faster one to run down here. It's gonna bring up an item for Sonic to grab. Switch back over to him. We grab it. We run to the other side. And then we swap Amy. It's gonna drop that receptacle. And we're going to bring up that one. Then we drop it in there, switch over to Amy, run as far as we can, and it turns on the fans. So Froggy Rain level 2, pump the speed, and we get Blow Kiss level 2. Very important. So now we're going to do the Daring Knuckles rescue. Now that we've located Eggman's old hideout. And basically the story up to this point is that the Marauders, these guys, like, easily beat up Knuckles and, like, imprisoned him. Also, I've been running into these guys lately. But I guess it's good to kind of show you guys, like, they tried to be clever with the, blending the boxes into the background back there, and then having some boxes in the foreground on, like, that same line. It's pretty funny. But anyway, we came all this way to save Knuckles, and he just literally punches the SWAT bots and breaks out himself. So I'm not saying it was a wasted effort. But I don't think we really need to go over there and save Knuckles. Alright, Chapter 3 is kind of a stressful chapter, honestly. There's a couple of boss fights here, where if you get bad RNG, you can end up wasting a lot of time, honestly. So there's the Eggman detector, and we're pretty much collecting things here too. We have 6 things we need to collect here. So we're going to be collecting Eggman devices, and anytime you're within range of one, Tails' detector goes off. Just like that. So we're going to run in here and talk to this guy, and this guy actually had someone steal his prized stapler from him. So as soon as we find that, he's going to give us an Eggman device. But for that, we're going to swoop down here into the store, and we're going to buy some important items. I'm actually going to sell this refresher now. We didn't get lucky and get hydraulics. So sometimes you get that from the SWAT bots. But it's a rare drop. And that's exactly why I pick up the refresher, so we can sell that. Sells for the same price. And it's all good. So we're going to go back over here. Detect our second one, and we're going to get this one basically right away. Wait for that guy to get set up. And we're going to talk to this random SWAT bot that's out here. Slow down the dialogue a little bit, because we want to pick option 3. That way we don't actually have to fight the SWAT bot. He just gives up his detector, and we move on. Okay, so now we're going to go back down to Mystic Ruins. And we're going to run there since it's a little bit closer. And we're going to see someone else headed down there as well. So this mysterious black hedgehog comes and like whacks us in the back of the head as he's headed down the same way we are. We want to avoid these guys as well. Those caterpillars are much stronger than like any other enemy you meet up to this point. And you can run from them. Luckily. One thing we won't be able to run from is Shadow after he makes this weird merman noise. So we want to slow down the dialogue here too, and pick option 2. If you just mash through the dialogue and pick option 1, then you have to actually fight Shadow, and you can't run away from him. Okay, so that's the first thing we have to do in Mystic Ruins. The second thing we have to do is actually going to require me to take a safety save right around here. So you have to fight these Robodillos, and there's a set of Robodillos that is like out here that you want to avoid because you get trapped and you can't run away from them. So luckily going in, you have a pretty wide berth. And this fight is really just all big right here. Oh good, and we got an ambush too, and that's even better. Okay, so Rock Salt actually gives Empowered State. Only Empowered 1 though. I took Amy for some reason. That kind of sucks. We're gonna have to switch characters actually. No big deal though. Yeah, that's fine, actually. So we just pretty much go about this fight like normal. Huh, I didn't even realize that. It's pretty funny, actually. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much for this fight. We just kind of have to stop by the stronghold, which is what this run used to do. Where I kind of routed that out. Okay, the most important part is that these guys are under 36 HP. And I'm just gonna have everybody attack this guy right here to bring him down, and then we have one more Froggy Rain to end it. So good. And we're going to get a pretty important item here, the Economizer. And we're going to be abusing that a little bit throughout the run. Also grab that Chow Egg. We don't necessarily need that. Chows would be real helpful in this game throughout the speed run. The unfortunate part is that their hatching is random. So they can hatch into like one of like 40 different variety of Chow. So just never know which one you're gonna get. It'd be great if there was like some sort of manipulation for that, actually. Okay, so avoiding those Robodillos on the way out is actually, it requires some pretty tight timing. I did get it in the first try there. Which is good because we need to actually come here. So it's going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to be on full resources. We're going to be on full resources for the Scorpions. So that fight's going to go slightly different as well. But now we're going to kind of kill two birds with one stone. We talk to this guy and we get the prize stapler back. And then we're going to go up here. So we started Cream's quest. And we're going to end it here. At least the fetch part of it. So we get cheese. We also get 500 XP. And the level up. So we want to take Blue Bomber 2. Very important. Keep buffing Tails' defense. Also important. And now we want to throw on all this equipment. So Sonic needs Speedy Sneakers. Speeds him up. He needs Economizer as well. Tails needs Spooky Charm. Economizer. And then Knuckles gets the Lucky Gloves. Okay. Now we're going to go into the kind of nerve-wracking portion of this chapter. Right towards the end. So we're going to go back this way, and I am going to take a safety save here, actually. I'm going to take one here, and I think I'm going to take one before SWAT Bots Mark II as well. So these Scorpions are much stronger than, just like the Caterpillars back in Mystic Ruins. They're much stronger than any enemy you encounter up to this point. Like, a lot stronger. Okay, and we didn't get ambushed, so good start, at least. And then we're going to spin to Rock Salt on Sonic, and we're going to get some Blue Bombers going. And hopefully these guys get weakened status. Knuckles is going to uppercut these guys. Uppercut is a good move, because it ignores armor. So you just get that raw damage. And it looks like we're starting off with some good RNG. So their attacks are pretty slow, and when they do hit, they hit for a ridiculous amount of damage for this point in the game. As you can see. Which is good, which is why we hit them with the Blue Bomber. That guy didn't get weakness status, unfortunately. But he's not attacking us. It's equally as good. Neither one of them are attacking. This is great. So that's their power move. If you get a perfect action, you just totally dodge it. And hopefully this guy gets weakened. He did. So that little green and red haze over him actually reduces his damage. And this is what the Economizer is good for. So it reduces your POW. It reduces your POW move by 1. So instead of being able to just do 2 Blue Bombers at 4 PP, we are able to do 3 at 3 PP. So we knock one of these guys out, and this is actually going really well. So we're very far into the advantage, and there's basically no way we're going to lose this fight at this point. Especially not with this guy doing no damage. Which means there's probably going to be a bad RNG patch later on in the game. And somehow he still managed to knock out Big. Then Knuckles got in there with a lucky crit. So now we get this little boy, put him in our pocket. We also get another Eggman device. And we're going to finish up Cream's quest. And we're actually going to recruit her now. So Cream is one of the two optional characters, the other one being Omega. But Cream is very easy to get. And she makes some of the boss fights more consistent. So we want these to refresh, and we want one heal. Okay, so now we're going to go close out this chapter. To do that, we need to go back to Central City. Hopefully avoiding that guy and that guy, taking the more direct route. And one of the things I want to try to find is a route where we don't have to trigger this cutscene. So we get the Eggman device after you beat the Scorpions. But to actually turn in the quest, you have to run past this point. Unfortunately, we have to run past this point to get to the other shopkeep, the guy we have to get the stapler to. As far as I know, there's no other way to get down here, so you're basically forced into that cutscene. So we run in here, give this guy a stapler real quick, and then we finish the quest for the chapter, and now we just have to go fight the boss. So this is the party we're going to take in there. Also, I didn't mention this. I guess I can mention it now. When you get a different character recruited to your party, it counts as a stronghold. Anytime you go back to that party select screen, it's like a stronghold. So as you can see, the entire party is actually refreshed now. And now we're going to gear up for what is really like the worst boss fight in the game. It sucks, dude. And not just yet. So Tails puts all those Eggman devices together. We find Eggman's new hideout. And we take down the force field. Unfortunately, taking down the force field releases these drones. Oh god. Okay, so I'm losing damage on that. I dropped that action completely. Still shouldn't affect this fight too much. You're going to take some heavy damage here either way. But if I didn't drop that action in the beginning... Oh god, this guy's evading. So that's going to whiff. And that guy's evading now. So what we're going to do here is actually do a refresh with Cream. So Cream is a little bit OP. She refreshes everyone's PP, even her own. So you can just abuse that. Okay, this kind of sucks. We are in a decent position, but I'm probably gonna have to, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to heal Sonic and Tails. Okay, so that one really just like weakened you. And I don't know if they were trying, if the devs set it up to try to surprise you, but I think they did. Try to surprise you with the boss fight on the other side. Looks like we're rolling good here. So I'm just going to go ahead and safety save, and we're going to get into it. So this boss fight is 3 SWAT bots. But the SWAT bots are a little bit stronger. There's SWAT bot Mark II. And this fight can go very, very wrong. Cream kind of acts as a back break, so it doesn't get too out of control. But even still, if these guys get really aggressive, it's bad news. So we're gonna start off a little backwards. We're gonna give Knuckles a rock salt in the beginning, so he can get a little bit more damage as soon as he attacks. And then we're gonna give Sonic his rock salt. So we have to kind of stagger how we hit these guys, just because they all, again, they have to be knocked out on the exact same round, or they use self-repair and they just get up. Again, another case to use Blue Bomber. And we're hoping that they get weakness status. Okay, that guy is good. And they all get down to about the same health after this first round. Hopefully this guy gets weakness status as well. It was not to be. I think he was also defending. So this round, we pretty much just attack to try to even out their health totals a little bit. That is why, while Cream refreshes everyone. But it looks like these guys are defending. That's not great. Also, I should have healed Knuckles. They're gonna go for Knuckles hardcore, I think, now. Okay, we might just have to go an extra round just to be safe. Okay, I'm glad the weakened guy is going after Knuckles, actually. And the guy with the most health he's just, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go an extra round just to be safe, man. And we're gonna buff Knuckles. We're gonna give him his health back. Man, this guy, he's just not coming out of his shell. Okay, now he's out. Again, I just want to make sure that these guys have all got at least semi-even life totals. That way we can knock them all out in the same round. Which ought to be this round coming up. So we're still pretty far in the advantage. Our buffs did run out. It shouldn't matter, though. Gonna attack that guy. Also gonna do uppercut there. And probably uppercut here, too. So this is the Gambit. Well, that's certainly not good. My buffs. Okay, now that guy's gonna get back up at 50 HP, actually. Yeah, and this fight's going a little bit long. That's really unfortunate. Because Sonic is not going to do 29 damage to this guy. He's only going to do 1 damage. Yeah, so this is getting a little bit out of hand now. We can do a slight refresh. Hopefully we can clean this up next round. Really need Knuckles, though. These guys do love to run me a monkey wrench. Oh, I thought he was going to go straight for Knuckles. Also, so the enemies have no tell when they're going to defend like that. So it's just a surprise every single time, which is unfortunate. I think I just made things worse for myself, but we're gonna see. As long as that guy on the end is not defending, we should be good. For hopefully a next round knockout. Or maybe even this knockout this round. Oh god, dude. He's defending. I don't think he's defending anymore though. Oh, he's still defending. So here we go again. Ay 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 ay. Ay ay ay. The joys of this game. As long as Knuckles is good, though, we maybe will get a knockout this round. Okay, it looks like he's going to be after we heal. Good, good. Alright, so finally the nightmare's over. Oh, what? Okay. This is actually getting a little ridiculous. Oh god, dude. It's gonna knock that guy out. Don't do 5 damage, Sonic. Oh, I guess he's not gonna do any damage. Oh boy. We might lose at this point, honestly. I just used all my resources. Yeah, so this is a thing that can happen, unfortunately. God, it's so bad. Yeah, so we're at round 10 now, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is like a 3-round fight, basically. Alright, maybe this round. We'll see. Man, went straight for Knuckles. Don't hit Knuckles, please. We'll just beat up on Tails, I guess. Alright, here we go. Good. Finally. Yeah, we're at the end of this boss fight. Yeah, this is over no matter what. There we go. So, yeah. That's exactly why we have Cream in the fight. The boss fight is actually incredibly stressful. Like, the worst in the game, hands down. Excuse me. Alright, so now we're gonna head out to a more relaxing area. So now we're gonna get another pop-up on our map when we get to it, and we can go to Blue Ridge Zone. In Chapter 4, even the music is a little more mellow here. And this chapter is basically smooth sailing until we get to the puzzle. So first we're going to start out with a side quest from this guy right here. Very simple, very easy. And doesn't take too long either. But first we're actually going to have a confrontation with Shadow this time around. Alright, so we just use a random item to kind of manipulate the stack. Again, just like we did when we fought the SWAT bots. He can defend, and then we want to blow kiss on Sonic. And we don't have to reduce Shadow's HP to 0 here. We just have to get him down to 75. Which is what this is going to do. The 2 rounds now. And all his power moves are pretty easy to dodge. So this is going to end the fight. Also, I should point out that all the strats I came up with in this game are intended to kill within like 1 or 2 rounds. And even the bosses. So you kind of just have to adjust off RNG. So here we get Axe Kick just in time for the second part of this boss fight, which is just a solo fight between Shadow and Sonic. And this sequence, it starts off with a little chase. And if your speed is high enough, then that sequence is like super short. And this boss fight's very simple. We just kick him to death. So we can actually get 2 kicks in before he can actually even do anything. So here's where Shadow actually joins our party. So we get a little shuffle. We're going to take... not Tails, we're going to take Amy. Actually, no, that's incorrect. But should be fine still. We have the major players. First things first, we're gonna actually finish up that side quest. So we're gonna talk to that guy, tell him don't turn the power on in the power plant. And then we're gonna run back here for 500 XP reward. Easy XP. And we're gonna get a level up for Knuckles. One for Amy, too. And the enemies in this zone are pretty easy to avoid. Save one. So this guy... okay, those birds. Those birds are pretty scary sometimes. A lot of times I actually don't avoid them. Okay, we actually got caught by that guy. He is not too difficult, though. And they're pretty slow, so we can run away from them rather easily. So we're going to tell Tails to stop reminding us to save at this point. And then, can you believe it? We're already at the boss for this chapter. So we pretty much, we got introduced to the Nocturnus in the chapter 1. And then, basically, here's our proper introduction. And we took Atomic Strike for Shadow, right? So we want to manipulate the stack. Antidote. So Atomic Strike is one of the only elemental POW moves. And these guys just so happen to have a weakness. 10% weakness. To lightning. And I'm glad she's starting off with that. So, no damage yet. Her minions are going to attack, though. That guy is phasing. So, phasing is pretty much just a stronger version of evade. Except that these guys can actually completely dodge damage. Okay, good that she's blade rushing again. Very easy move to avoid. And it also means that she's not going to phase herself. So, we get a couple damage stacks here. We have... this move at level 2 has like a 200% multiplier over base damage. Plus the damage from being an empowered 3. Now he's in empowered... actually no, 4. So, he was in empowered 2. Now he's in powered 4. And this guy is not going to survive this. That's kind of weird. So, usually Shade dies last, but because this guy phased, this guy's dying last. Anywho, so you can see the ridiculous amount of damage you can pump out with Shadow. That Atomic Strike is going to push us all the way through Chapter 5. When we get there in just a couple minutes. So the reason I usually don't take Amy here is because after you fight the boss, that cutscene plays, where she just kind of runs up and then she hits the ice wall with her hammer. If she's not in your party, then that doesn't play, and it just pans over to this section. And we did have the worst boss fight in the game last chapter. Now we're gonna have the worst puzzle in the game. So we have these switches on the side, and we have to go up to this monitor, and it gives us a randomized combination of these switches. Round 1 is just 2, round 2 is 3, and then round 4 is 4 switches. Or round 3 is 4 switches, rather. Got my numbers confused there. Fortunately, I do kind of have a layout for these. Most possible combinations. Not all. I've probably captured about 90% of the combinations. So I'll always have to give a good look at these. Just to kind of see what's going on here. And really just kind of quickly match it with my guide. Couldn't think of the word there for a second. So this is 2, 4, 6. Okay, so this one, I don't think I've seen before, so this kind of sucks. So this is kind of a new combination to me. Actually, no, it's not, so I have it. That's actually a frequent thing that happens too. So this is 1, 3, 4, and 5. Good. It's a really bad puzzle. But we got through it actually relatively quickly. Casually, it'll take you a little while to figure that one out. And now we're on to Chapter 5, Metropolis Zone. And this is going to be the first time where our party splits in 2. So we're going to be controlling kind of a ground party and then an advanced party that's going to try to go up to Angel Island. First we have to talk with Knuckles, then we have this longer dialogue with Tails. And then we split. So we want to take Rouge in this party along with Big, and we want to take Amy along with Shadow in that party. Tails just buff his defense. Still, Rouge, it really doesn't matter, but speed is probably the best. Big, always defense. And then we want to save up for Froggy Rain. Robotnik, Eggman, we want to actually increase this. So Eggman is actually a temporary party member, just for this chapter and the next. But he's actually essential for this chapter. Not so much for the game itself, but for the speed run. So that's Sabotage Power. It's very hard action to pull off. And it does, even if you pull it off, it does have a chance for failure. But if you get it to level 2, there is just a 90% chance of success. So that's much better than anything else, really. And kind of boosts his luck, so he has better chances to get it. And also, the only reason why Rouge is really in this party and not Cream is because then this party would have a group of slow-moving characters. Rouge runs almost as fast as Sonic on the overworld, so it gives this party a little bit of speed. Also, this is kind of the first place in the game where we start noticing that the paths that enemies walk on are kind of broken. And hopefully we see some examples of that throughout this. It's very, very, very heavy in Metropolis, actually. That guy got me. Oh, we got ambushed too. It's bad to get ambushed by these guys. Yeah, so Sometimes you can manipulate the enemies to actually take the broken path, and they just wander out of bounds, and you don't have to worry about them at all. Sometimes they just go out of bounds of their own accord. It's actually really funny to see. They just kind of wander off the map. We want to dodge that guy, we want to dodge that guy, and there's a third guy. Lucky number 3. There it goes. We switch to Knuckles. Get some dialogue, and we kind of want to trail this guy a little bit. You can actually kind of dodge the encounter with him. But looks like we're going to take it. And we're going to get ambushed again. Yikes. Yeah, so this is just a good reminder. I did forget to do one small thing, and that's unequip unequip Cheese from Cream and equip him to Sonic. So that's the other thing that happens when you turn in the Cream subquest. So Cream changes from just being like a key item to being an actual Chow. And being an actual Chow, you can unequip him, and then you can equip him to anybody else. And what he does is he boosts the party's luck by 5, actually. Every character gets boosted by 5. And Chows actually have 3 different levels, but that involves actually trading between games. So at level 3, he can boost up to actually 15% boost in luck. But in this run, we only do the base level. And that's kind of important because your luck stat is tied to whether or not you're going to get ambushed or whether you're going to ambush an enemy party. Okay, this guy, we kind of want to go up here. Hopefully he goes out of bounds. Yeah, he went out of bounds, see? He's not supposed to do that. But it's really good for us when he does it. Or, well, he's not supposed to do that according to the, I guess, programming of the game, which is just busted in that respect. But yeah, it's definitely a boon for us. Okay, next puzzle. Just a very simple Simon Says puzzle. It's favorable to actually end on red here, because we have to go up that conveyor belt once it gets built at the end of the puzzle. So you can just save a few seconds if the pattern does happen to end on red, as opposed to ending on blue, which you end up all the way over here in the corner. And it's totally randomized, not a set solution, so we'll see what we get every single time. Alright, let's do it. So we got blue, red, red, blue. So we go blue, red, red, and blue. So red, yellow, blue, red, yellow. Yellow, blue, red, yellow. Blue, blue, red, 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 blue. So that's unfortunate. We did end up in the corner over there. So again, we're just going to regroup on the last active character. So we regroup on Big. And we actually want to increase his bombardment. Yeah, so you can see like the time that passes between going to that corner. Hopefully get... Oh, almost got to pass through there. Yeah, so a little bit of time lost between just going to that corner and ending right next to the conveyor belt. I'd estimate like 5-6 seconds or so if you're moving with Rouge. Also, when you get to the top of this conveyor belt, you can kind of mash on L or R, because that flight prompt comes up like right when you hit the top. And I think it might be dependent on the position of those marauders. But if you catch that prompt, like pretty much when you get to the top, you'll pass right over those marauders and won't get into an encounter with them. Okay, we're gonna go right to the top corner here. We're gonna spawn both those guys onto the map. And then we're gonna go get the last weapon part right in here. So we're gonna hijack this airship now. This guy's taking his time coming out here, huh? We can't run away from this one. Fortunately, it's not too bad of an encounter. And Sonic's at low health, so I'm just gonna have really everyone attack. Just in case he wants to attack Sonic. Or get a little froggy with his leech blade. And it's actually a little bit faster. I think I'm gonna do that strat from now on. So we want that level 3 uppercut. And more importantly, we want level 3 blow kiss. So now we beat that guy up. We have commandeered the airship, but we immediately get boarded by more marauders, and they try to take out our weaponry. So we just go over here and try to confront them. But a little too late. Now we can't fight our way to Angel Island, so these guys down here, they have to go activate the cannon. Which only requires another trip through the underground. So let's dodge this guy, give him a wide berth. Let's go underground. And a real quick thing here that's odd. So Big actually levels up between the time, the last time you're in control of this party and Sonic's party. So you can actually go in there to actually pop his level up. Let's try to make this guy go out of bounds. Yeah, we did it. Hopefully we don't manipulate this guy to do the same. I guess he's just gonna come straight for us. These guys are so slow, and their luck stat is so low, that pretty much every time we ambush them. And this is a pretty slow party, all things considered. So we're just gonna run away from these guys. So the last enemies we might have to run away from on this map, we're gonna have those marauders at the top of the conveyor belt. Hopefully we can actually pass through them this time. And then there's just one more shield drone, or sentry drone, one of the two. We didn't get it either time. So that might actually depend on your positioning there as well. From their position and your position. Needless to say, more testing is gonna need to be done on that to get it up to 100%. Yeah, so we just jump down and we fly this way this time. You can manipulate these guys to actually give you some space at least to get out. It's kind of difficult though. It's a very tight corridor. But anyway, we don't have to run away from any more enemies on this map, at least. And what I am going to do is create a safety save here, just so we have a back break. And it's Eggman's time to shine. So we get to the cannon, and then we have this boss fight. Oh, and we get an ambush, which is not really that great, since these guys do pretty low damage. And those drones have pretty high defense, so most of the time you're not going to do any damage. But we're going to sabotage this guy right in the middle. We're going to Froggy Rain. Oh geez, these guys are coming with a vengeance. Catch all those prompts, we're going to take no damage. Real good. Yeah, so we got sabotaged first time. Pretty difficult action to pull off. It goes really fast. So now we just clean up. And to clean up, all we need to do is call down an orbital bombardment with Eggman. So he kind of just goofily walks towards the enemies. And finishes them off. That was actually a lot better than my PB even. Okay, now we can actually fight back against all the Angel Island marauders. Unfortunately, Sonic's airship does get shot down, so they make it to Angel Island, right? Just a bit of a crash landing, though. And then there's the big bad guy for the game. That's Imperator X. We're going to be visiting him in a moment. Hopefully I can get away from these guys. No, they were already, like, overlapping my sprite. And it's real important not to hit too many crates, because the enemies on Angel Island are really, really fast. So you hit a couple of them and you're gonna get caught. Also, I found out, like, oh, I guess that's not true. I guess that was just a weird thing that happened earlier. That guy's path usually ends, like, right about there. Also, there was a marauder, like, to the left that actually walked straight out of bounds. If you caught that. So here we go. Hopefully we don't have to run away from these other two guys. The third guy is rather difficult to get away from, though. That guy, not so much. And he's very difficult to get away from, because you gotta lure him away. And then you have to, like, actually smash that crate. And you can move for a little while after you smash it, so he can just catch up to you. Alright, so now we're just at about the boss fight for this chapter. I'm gonna grab that real quick before we spring on over. Use Sonic to get through the speed zone, and right here we're gonna sort out our menu. So Knuckles needs this economizer. This guy, Shadow, needs the sparkly gloves, spooky charm, lucky gloves, boxing gloves. Okay, so we're good on all that. We just need to heal now. So we can use these leftover ones here. And PP check is good. So this is definitely a spot where you want to have a safety save. So this is a little bit of a gauntlet coming up. We have 3 fights that we have to go through in a row. While Imperator X throws his minions at us. But again, Shadow shines here. And pretty much anytime you're fighting Nocturne, Shadow is going to shine. So all we want to do is attack with him. And then we want to use a random item. We'll just use Clover Juice. Atomic Strike. Yeah, so we manipulate the stacks so that Amy goes and buffs Shadow right away. Also, I guess this is a good time to talk about the slight nuance in combination power moves. Whoever is involved in the power move, that's not initiating it, if they were first in the party... Oh, that guy phased, I think. Yeah, he phased again. Which means this isn't gonna hit him. It's a waste of time here. That sucks. Oh, he phased again. Like, what is this guy doing? So normally you knock all those guys out in the same round. Like, you're not required to. But it's actually the best thing to do since these guys do that. Oh my god. Like, I've never seen this guy actually phase so many times. It's very unusual. It doesn't really change anything. Just kind of waste time. So we want to keep going on the speed with Sonic. Yeah, that Axe Kick 2 is what we want. More speed for Shadow as well, and then we get Atomic Strike 3 right on time. And the last thing we have to do with the ground crew, now that they've cleared their particular boss battle, is we just have to go back to the underground. And we gotta watch for these guys. Grab these hydraulics. So those are actually equip parts for Omega. Omega is actually on this map, but as I said before, we don't actually get him because you have to go out of your way, and you also have to fight another battle. I do want to toy around with like routing him in though, because he is unequivocally the strongest character in the game. So we just run back to the stronghold, and then Eggman runs around, does his thing, and what he's doing is activating a teleporter. So Imperator X is going to throw more of his minions at us. This time they're a little bit stronger. We got ambush. That's never a good thing. because they get an extra turn before us, and yeah, they can really possibly disrupt the strats here. Thankfully, we don't need Knuckles. Shoot, we can just use anything, I guess. Iron Tonic works. Also, I'm not sure if I finished explaining the combo POW moves. So yeah, because Sonic is first in the party and he's not initiating the attack, he has to attack for Shadow to even start the oh shoot, dude, this is not good. So this is what happens when you get ambushed, man. Like, these guys do a lot of damage. Might actually be restarting this fight, honestly. Yeah, that's not good. She can't come back against this. Yeah, so we're gonna be restarting this fight, unfortunately. What sucks is that every time you retry a fight, it costs you 20 rings. And the first one is fine, actually. But anyone past that, I just like to kind of reload, you know? So we're gonna try to do this fight the right way this time. Okay, we didn't get ambushed. So this is a 2-round fight. With or without the buff, actually. So all these guys get drugged into the Atomic Strike. Oh, really, dude? These guys are just crazy right now. The other guy was phasing in the other fight. That guy somehow survived with like 2 HP. Nuts. They're just trying to hold on for dear life, man. Okay, so luckily for the third fight of this gauntlet, we get the rest of our crew. So we go to a party select screen, so that means we actually get all our characters back. Knuckles and Amy. We got ambushed again. Alright, so we actually have to attack again with Sonic. And then I'm going to give Rock Salt to Knuckles. Empowers him a little bit, so we can start on these armor-piercing uppercut moves. And I actually just came up with a backup strat for this, like, when I was practicing before the marathon. So the normal strat is basically take everything out with Shadow. The backup strat being empowered Knuckles even higher, so he's at empowered 1, and then he'll end up at empowered 4, which means he'll be hitting for a whole heck of a lot of damage. And that's just in case Sonic gets taken out. Imperator X does have a counter, so Sonic's probably gonna die here. Oh. He didn't die. Good, good, good. So Imperator X is gonna get swept up in this, and we're gonna take him out. That's actually a good fight. pretty good fight. Okay, so now we want to work on Quake Punch for Knuckles. That's going to be important a few chapters from now. But right now, we're going to end Chapter 5. Just ends with this cutscene. Imperator X going into the Sanctum, stealing the Master Emerald. And taking the Master Emerald causes Angel Island to actually fall. So it's being kept afloat by that. And it crashes right into Metropolis Zone. So we get this really annoying alarm to start, but it doesn't last very long. And this is a menu you really want to pay attention to if you're running this game, because there's no save point between before you start the fight with Imperator X in here. And you can't undo things in this game. Once you set a power move, it's set. So we want certain ones. So, we want to take Shade, we want to take Knuckles, and we want to take Amy. And we want to buff her attack, and then we want to take Echidna Rush. And now that we have a flying character, his Knuckles gets flying. Shoot. Press the button too many times. Not a big deal, though. Yeah, those two prompts are very close together. And all we have to do on this stage is actually activate 3 generators. So that's the first. First and second are basically free. Just gotta avoid the abundance of enemies that are between generator 1 and generator 2. So, at this point in the game, what we're trying to do is chase after Imperator X. So, he took the Master Emerald and he went into a different dimension called the Twilight Cage. And Tails, luckily, can outfit the tornado to travel through different dimensions. Oh, this guy caught me. Usually you can manipulate this guy and then kind of skirt the edge of that cliff and get in there. So he might get me on the way out too. Anyway. Yeah, Tails can outfit the tornado to travel through different dimensions, but we need to get the dimensional buffer, which is in the Hazard Vault. So once we activate the 3 generators, it clears out all the toxic fumes, and then we go into the Hazard Vault for the boss fight. It's a very short chapter, except this boss fight is kind of ridiculous with RNG. So yeah, I've lost many a run to the boss that's coming up. And it's really because he has a move that hits in pretty rapid succession that can kill really anybody it touches. It's really bad. He can just point and click and get rid of a character. Alright. So we're almost there. You want to be careful not to catch that speed zone prompt either. Okay, so we're going to menu here. And a proper menu here looks like Knuckles getting the or actually Sonic getting the economizer. Sonic actually getting sparkly gloves. Boxing gloves go to her. Actually, no, lucky gloves go to her. Boxing gloves go to Knuckles. And that's about it. So, health and PAL check, we're good. So we're gonna save here. Just because pretty much saving here is the same as reloading. just because the boss fight is right down this hallway. Unfortunately, we have this guy that you can barely avoid, taking up so much space. There is a way to manipulate him to actually go out into the boss arena, so we only have to deal with the guy on the way in. But I'm not entirely sure how to pull it off. Yeah, so Eggbot. Eggbot's pretty crazy, as you're gonna see. Hopefully this boss fight doesn't get too out of hand. And you have a bunch of different dialogue options, but none of them actually matter. What does matter is that we didn't get ambushed here. So we want to pop a rock salt onto Sonic. And we want to try to axe kick those guys out of existence. Hopefully that works. I'm actually going to defend. We're going to buff. We're going to buff. Yeah, there's his attack. So you can see it almost killed Knuckles. The character that is least vital here is Amy. She's just giving buffs. She's mostly support here. And unlike the other boss fights, we kind of want to take out... the drones first, but I did stack it incorrectly, so that's not happening. But that's a good boss fight. So again, my strats are intended to end the encounters in 1 to 2 rounds. So that's what an example of pretty much a perfect boss fight with the Eggbot looks like. So we're just going to go over here, grab this. It's really just more fodder to sell, especially since I had to retry a battle. So we're down some rings. There are a few items that we have to purchase. And I'm going to menu right here again. So we have to switch some equipment before we get to the next portion. So she actually needs the economizer and the sparkly gloves. And then the lucky gloves go back to Knuckles. The boxing gloves go back to Sonic. And we're good, we're good. So what Tails has been working on this entire time is basically changing the tornado into the Normandy from Mass Effect. And he outfitted the ship with a dimensional buffer. So now we fly into the dimension called the Twilight Cage. And this is where the rest of the game takes place. So we're just going to visit several different planets within the Twilight Cage. First is going to be the colony of the Kron. And these guys have a kind of ridiculous armor rating. And I don't think I actually talked about armor ratings. So it's a hidden stat, power and armor. So power actually governs how much damage you deal. Armor actually governs how much damage you take. It's not attack and defense. Attack and defense is basically accuracy, like I said in the beginning. So basically, normal moves are useless for the most part on these guys. But what is really good is Echidna Rush. And this is why we buff Amy's speed. So at this point in the game, Amy needs to be faster than Shade. So she can get that buff, and then we can take these guys out. And I do have a habit of dropping the first Echidna Rush that I do. Luckily it didn't happen there. So we're just gonna jump on here real quick, reform our party, and stack them just like this. So you can see an example of what I was talking about with the combination power moves. So I put Shade ahead of Knuckles in the party. That way Knuckles can just do whatever you want him to do, and he doesn't have to attack. Okay, so this boss fight goes much the same way, except we use Kid in the Rush on both those guys. Low kiss, and defend. And we're basically in no danger of, like, really dying to these guys. They may put Daze status on you, but that really doesn't affect power moves. So we're good. So we get the buff, and let's get all these inputs. 2, 3, and 1, 2. And again, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. Very easy. And that's the only fighting we have to do on this planet. We can just really run from everyone else. And now we want to work on Blade Rush. And we want to take Amy along. Besides the buffs, Amy's the only character that gets the field ability Smash 3. Therefore, she's the only one that you can take to actually progress through the game right here. Okay, and the first two Kron encounters are forced. This one is not forced, but it's very difficult to actually avoid that guy. But the important thing is we're not trapped here. So we are free to run. I'm gonna see what kind of fancy moves I can actually pull off to dodge these guys up ahead. So that guy's easy. This guy is relatively easy. This is the harder guy to dodge. Oh, yeah. So in here, we want to buy some pretty important items. The rest of the enemies, the rest of the enemy types for the rest of the game, they're all weak to Earth. They either have a 10 or 25% weakness to Earth. Therefore, buying those Earth rings is actually really, really handy. And we just want to clean up our inventory just a little bit. And buy some more rock salt. So, I like to get 6 for good measure. You really only need 5. And the last thing we have to do on this planet is activate a generator to take down the big barrier that they're trying to avoid. Or I guess they're trying to get through. I really forget what the story is in the Kron planet. Suffice to say that we actually do need to get a Chaos Emerald here. And we're going to be getting Chaos Emeralds for one for each planet, pretty much. So we're going to try to dodge this guy again. Got that. This guy's pretty easy to dodge. Good. So here's the next puzzle. And we talk to this guy to activate it. So we have 3 symbols. None of the symbols can be the same. So how we go about solving this is, really we just need to adjust off the first one, which is the blue one. So we have this vertical slash, we have an equal sign, and then we have a plus sign. So I just kind of put in a random combination at first. So I'm going to put plus on that one. So it looks like blue is wrong. So let's change that to equal. I guess we're going to change it to plus equals. How about slash for that one? So that's right, and so that one's right. Another randomized puzzle, but not very many possibilities for it. Not too much randomization. Okay, now the latter half of this planet. This guy is almost impossible to avoid. Oh, but we got through him. That's actually great. That way we can run straight down to this generator. So that's our major objective for the planet. And now we just have to get back to the ship. Right after we grab this Chaos Emerald. So we just take a slight detour over here. So 1 of 7, we get another level up. And then we're good. We just move right off this planet. And let's see, if I'm good enough, I really only have to take one encounter. These guys right here. Also another neat little thing, if you guys haven't noticed, whenever the ambush, I guess the battle status bar comes up, I guess we'll call it, whenever it says ambush, you can actually look at Sonic's face on there to see whether you got ambushed or whether you ambushed the enemy party. Yeah, I got really good dodges in my my record run. I believe I got the pass-through for Metropolis 2. What I call Metropolis 2, I guess. The second part of that chapter. So this is actually pretty good. No, we don't want that. We want Knuckles and then Amy. Actually, no. I thought I was slightly ahead of where I actually am. Doesn't matter too much, though. Considering we can just go back to the ship. We do need Big here. So this is a spot where you really, really want to slow down on the dialogue. Because we want to pick option 3. If we don't pick option 3, we end up fighting these Nargal guys. And Nargal warriors are really, really bad, dude. Like, they have leech in the extreme. So basically every time they hit you, they gain their full health back. That's not anything you want to get mixed up with. So, we step foot onto the planet, and we get approached by kind of an ambassador. So that guy will tell us to go see the Nargal Queen, which is what we're going to do. So I'd like to stop in here, just because we get those oily hydraulics. This is the Sonic RPG. So we want to pass through here. And then we're going to meet up with the Nargal Queen. We want their Chaos Emerald, but she's not going to give us the Chaos Emerald unless we go pretty much defeat their rivals, the Zoa. So once we get that quest, we just kind of leave the planet. Duck back in here because we don't want to get mixed up with those Nargal warriors. Also, I took that spring. That's the wrong way. I want to just go back around here. So, that being said, we get back on the ship. And we automatically get taken to the Zoa planet. So we want Shade, we want Knuckles, and we want Amy. And we do get a chance to menu here. Which is exactly what we need to do. So we want to equip an Earth Ring to her. We want to equip an Earth Ring to Sonic. Those are going to be the two major strikers. And then Knuckles gets the economizer. And speaking of high armor ratings, these guys have an incredibly high armor rating as well. But again, Echidna Rush ignores armor. And with Blow Kiss, of course, going into that empowered state, just basically take these guys out in one hit. That is given I don't drop any of the inputs for Echidna Rush. Just always gotta keep in mind, nothing is free in this run. You gotta earn it. Two, three, and 1, 2. So you can see like the ridiculous amount of damage we're actually doing to these guys. And we're gonna start doing even more damage, actually. In just a little bit. Yeah, Quake Punch 2 is a thing that we want. Alright, so we're gonna go back in the ship and refresh real quick. And then we're gonna continue on. And there's actually a very easy side quest that we're gonna get that has a ridiculous payout for doing basically nothing. So first we go into this house. We get a very important item called the Cursed Gloves. It's the second highest power raising item in the game. Only outclassed by the Zoa, or actually no, the Kron Hammer. So we can pass these sparkly gloves down. We can pass the boxing gloves down. So it raises your power by 6. So that means even more damage stacked on top of what we already have. So our average damage output is going to be pretty high. And this is our side quest. So we fight this enemy from Chapter 4. Basically, this shopkeep is trying to scam people into buying his merchandise. So he has this little enemy projector thing. Just a complete hologram. Don't ask me how we're beating up a hologram. But he's trying to scam people into buying charms that will supposedly ward this guy off. So all we do is beat it up. And we get 3,000 XP. Which just seems disproportionate for what you actually have to accomplish there. But hey, I'm not arguing. Another really, really strong item that comes in handy is right in this item box. So we get the Voxeye Teleporter. which raises your armor. Highest armor rating item in the game. And there are two paths for this planet. There's an NPC you can talk to try to apply for citizenship, and then you don't have to fight these guys, but then you have to fight, like, basically 3 boss fights in a row. Or you can just fight these guys and then solve a quick puzzle. Get the same amount of experience you would for actually going and fighting one of the boss battles. And then go into the palace and actually get another pair of cursed gloves, so your damage output gets even higher. So yeah, that's the way I route it. You just merely need to catch these echidna rushes. And now you can see how much damage Shade's doing. 222 per hit. So you can even drop one of the inputs, and even with that reduced damage, like, it's still kind of ridiculous. And we definitely want to get that Axe Kick 3. And pretty soon, we're actually going to start capping out on certain stats, for bonuses at least. Okay, so this puzzle usually works with, like, the maximum number being 9. It's throwing me a few loops. It's usually plus and minus, so 4 plus 2, 6, and 5 should be the solution. Okay, so this goes up to 10. This will be an easier one. So, yeah, 8 plus 2 is 10. So, minus 7, so we come to 3. There we go. Okay, so we're going to increase her speed. We're just going to keep increasing Amy's speed. So we're going to go into the palace. We do have to run from one encounter here, just because the guy takes up basically the entire hallway, as you can see. And we need to run away. Fortunately, the Zoa are pretty slow. Yeah, exactly. If you recruit Cream, Cream's kind of OP. I do recruit Cream, but it is faster to get some other use other characters. And will this guy please? Would you please move? Thank you. We need to get into this item box right here to get the Psychic Water, which we need, and the Cursed Gloves. And we run to right about here. I'm actually going to let that hit. And we kind of patch up all our wounds. It looks like we're pretty much doing really good here. Let's see. Sonic does need those Cursed Gloves on, though. And then Sparkly Gloves can go to Mr. Knuckles. Lucky Gloves can go to her. Yeah, and so we just need to use PAL items. So restore that. So we pretty much sit on full resources going into this little boss gauntlet. So first we're going to fight Commander Cyrax, not the one from Mortal Kombat. It's a totally different Cyrax. Though that would actually be cool. He just like randomly popped in this game. So we have to fight him before we can fight General Rakdos. And this fight goes much the same way as like the double Zoa brutes. It's that we use 2 items here. It can be any items, really. I guess immunity booster, that's fine. But what we really want is to use a Pow Drink or Pow Gum. We want to stack it so that Sonic's third action, which is that Pow Gum, actually restores Shade's PP. Then we want to Echidna Rush, and since Amy goes first, and then for a good backup, let's boost Sonic. And these guys have power moves that are really, really easy to dodge. And I don't think I actually touched on the battle system itself too much. So, your constants are basically your attack and defense. Oops, I dropped an action. So yeah, that would actually kill the boss right then and there, but I dropped the last two inputs. So we're just gonna go another round, that's fine. This is why we buff Sonic. Okay, I dropped an input, but it's fine. Really what we want to do at this point is kind of take these guys out. I don't know if that's actually going to take out Cyrax, but we're going to run with it. Okay, so now we're back on track. Usually this boss fight's pretty easy. Like I said, had I actually gotten the Echidna Rush right off the bat, the boss would be dead, and then we just use the third Echidna Rush to kill that guy. Yeah, it looks like looks like the same enemy. So yeah, we're gonna see that again actually. Because there's a new game plus in this game. So once you beat the game, it actually just starts over. So you can start from the beginning with all your items and everything, all your abilities. It's a much faster category, and there's some weird stuff you can do with it too. There's some fights that you're not supposed to be able to skip, but you can actually skip in New Game Plus. And you can also use Chow, because if you've gone through this, you probably have a Chow or two. You can pretty much set up your Chow, your file, to where you have like all 40 of them, so you can kind of just pick and choose. At any rate, that was a boss fight. I wouldn't say so. There's only like maybe 2 or 3 runners of this game in general. And most of the runs are on just new game any %. Yeah, so New Game Plus is about half as long, actually. So if you are looking to get into this game as a speedrun, that's probably one that's more. That's probably a category that's a little bit more attractive, being about an hour and a half to 2 hours, as opposed to 2 to 3 hours, like this one is. At any rate, we beat up General Raxos, and we get full citizenship to the Zoa planet. They give up the Chaos Emerald, and these guys run away from us, which is good. We want to jump over these accelerators and slow down as much as we possibly can. Also, running this game on an emulator is different from running on a console. I'm running on a console right now, and since this game is controlled pretty much 99.9% with a touchscreen, that obviously makes a discrepancy between the console and the emulator. And with emulator, you can use a controller and everything, so your movement can be a little bit more smooth. Okay, so here, it doesn't matter who we take in our party. We're just gonna walk out here. And the Nargal Queen is actually just gonna greet us right away. And say, oh good. You defeated the Zoa, you got their Chaos Emerald. So now we'll just give you our Chaos Emerald as well. So now we want to kind of focus on buffing defense. Especially for specific characters. Like Amy, of course, Sonic. Also want to boost Sonic's luck, so I kind of just go 1 for 1 each level. At any rate, that's the end of Chapter 8. And now we're at Chapter 9, the Voxai Colony. So we actually don't want to take Shade here. We want to take Knuckles, we want to take Shadow, and we want to take Amy. Haven't used Shadow in a bit. And he actually shines here as well. So what you're going to see here is basically a carbon copy of the same fight 3 times over. First we have to do some slight menuing. I like to do it here just so I don't forget. So we do need to actually her cursed gloves attached to Shadow, so he starts doing more damage. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's fine. Because these Voxai actually have a, I believe it's 10%? 10% weakness to lightning, and actually a 25% weakness to earth. So we're going to be dealing out a lot of damage to them. Yeah, so it lowered his attack, but the attack stat is basically just your accuracy, essentially. It just determines how often you hit an enemy, and your defense actually determines how often you get hit. Where damage is determined by hidden stats called power and armor. So even though you see his attack rating go down, his power rating actually went up. We're just going to go in here real quick, grab the Zoa Shield. And another free Psychic Water. Why does Tails have eyebrows in this one? I have no idea. Yeah, their art direction was, it's pretty good, but there are a few questionable things. Just here and there. Okay, so this planet has basically a hive mind. And these Voxai are psychic beings, and they're basically governed by a hive mind. And the hive mind is being a little tyrannical, actually. And the guy that's helping us is outside the hive mind. See, we're gonna hit a Quake Punch there. And then we can use, like, any item. It's actually good to just use, like, a health seed or something. And then we're gonna Atomic Strike. And again, we just have to use that so it stacks so that Amy goes first. Yeah, anyway, so the hive mind is being tyrannical. This guy that's helping us is outside the hive mind. And we go to like a secret meeting place to meet with him and his friends. Unfortunately, his friends are... his friends actually quickly turn on him. They're under the control of the hive mind. So, that being said, we basically dispose of them. And they really try to play up the psychic part of these guys. So you pretty much get ambushed every single time you run into Voxai. And they'll always attack before you. And any of their regular attacks, as you can see, leaves you poisoned. Actually, yeah, defense is fine. We'll keep buffing defense. Yeah, so we're gonna leave here. There were no hostiles on this planet until now. So, after the guy that helps us is outed, everybody turns hostile. So we just go back over here to this teleporter, and we get cut off by really one of the emissaries of the hive mind. And this is the same fight, except the enemy in the middle is a boss. And this is where Knuckles' Quake Punch actually comes in handy. So Quake Punch has a random chance to actually stun. And that's exactly what we want. And it looks like we're pretty much good on health. I'm just going to heal him. And we're going to do another 2 rounds of Atomic Strike. And then we're going to do that just for safety. These guys are really beating up on Shadow right now. Good. We at least put one of them to sleep. So that's a little bit of a time save. It's also a little safer. It's because we don't get a 3rd attack. So these guys are going to die right here and now, since we do ridiculous damage to them. And this is why it doesn't matter if their attack actually goes down, because we deal most of our damage with power moves. So that's really all we care about is the damage. And Quake Punch 3, which is good going into the boss fight. Low Blow 3, which hopefully we never have to use. Okay, so the Voxai colony is split up into alpha and beta sides. So we're in the beta side right now. And our partner is going to unlock the teleporter for us to go to the alpha side. But first, since we're so close to the hive mind, he gives us a Chaos Emerald, that's charged up with psychic energy. So that allows us to resist the hive mind. And this is the only map in the game where you're actually forced to use a teleporting character. Luckily, Shadow is just so good in this area anyway that you can just take him along. And we're very quickly coming up on the boss fight. I just need to avoid that guy. Ah, I got caught by one of them. Is there a 100% category? No, not at the moment. Not sure too many people would be interested in that. Considering 100% would actually include getting all the chows. And chow hatches are random. You can kind of manipulate them. When a Chow is about to hatch, you can see what it hatches into, and if it doesn't hatch into something unique, you can just reload your past save and try again. Probably not. That would take longer than I'm actually willing to do a speedrun in, I think. And would also probably be very frustrating. Okay, so for this puzzle, it's very simple, but casually, it's kind of difficult to figure out. So we have the hedgehogs actually head down the ramp. Anytime you get 1 beep, you actually hit the switch. Anytime you get 2 beeps, you wait. Of course, the best RNG is just getting 1 beep all the way around. So we got a pretty good amount of beeps there. 1 beeps. Get a couple levels up. By that Chaos Rift. That comes in kinda handy. Towards the end. I do want to try to dodge this guy right here. It's difficult for me sometimes. And then menu right before I hit the boss arena. So we do want to check out our health and everything. We have so many health roots. Everyone's charged up. Let's see, PP is not good. So Sonic gets one of those. 1313. And now we fight the boss, which is 3 bosses in 1. Yeah, so I've actually routed it to where we get a we can use level up as a healing mechanic. So as usual, we're ambushed by these guys. This is pretty much the same fight with slight variation. So we're actually going to start off with a Rock Salt to give Empowered State to... I mean, I've got a lot of items right now. It's a Shadow. And we've got to attack with Sonic, unfortunately. We want to do 2 Quake Punches. And then I really like to just use a health item here. And then we Blow Kiss on 1, and then we Blow Kiss on Knuckles. Also, another thing that's really funny about this fight. So for the 2 bosses on the ends, left and right, due to like really poor programming, their power moves don't actually work. They don't actually do anything. The only reason I catch that action right at the end is to speed it up, to get it off screen. So we go right back into Atomic Strike. Doing massive damage to these guys. Stack that on Knuckles, and Knuckles is gonna finish it out. Easy peasy. Oh wow, this guy, man. The enemies are like persisting in this one. You can run from fights, but that's a boss fight, so obviously we're trapped in there. Nothing we can do about that one. It's a very easy boss fight, though. So, yay, we saved the Voxai colony. And the guy that's helping us actually becomes the new Hive Mind. Hive Mind, Overmind. And all we do is avoid that guy, and we go back to our ship. Ah. I always forget about this guy. Also, there's a whole subplot with these Gizoids. You have to go around and deactivate a bunch of them, which is why special music actually plays when they come out, generally. Some of them it doesn't, for some reason. Yeah, we got 2 Chaos Emeralds, one for each side of the colony. So we just have 2 left. And the 2 left are on Nocturne, which is the place we're headed to right now. And it's the final chapter. But right now I'm just gonna menu. I'm gonna these cursed gloves. Actually, not right now, I guess. As soon as we land on Nocturne. Yeah, so we have 5 Chaos Emeralds. So the last thing we have to do before the final assault is go back to the Kron colony. So if you've ever played Mass Effect 3, this is basically what the game turns into from this point on. So Sonic basically becomes Commander Shepard. We convince all these alien races to stop their squabbling and work together because we have Imperator X that's threatening everyone. So all we have to do is dodge a few encounters. Hopefully I can dodge this guy right here too. And this guy, for some reason, his AI is just completely broken at this point. So all he does is like walk in circles. So the second time you come back here, he's pretty easy to avoid. Last door trip. We go up here. We have enough rock salt, but we want to buy some psychic waters. Very handy. I'm gonna toss a meta-emitter on there too. Maybe another one. Let's sell one of these. Let's get another meta-emitter. So here's the summit. Everybody's together. And we all agree on a plan to go assault Nocturne. And that's it. That's all we have to do on this planet. We just have to go back to our ship now. Which there's actually a shortcut we can take. Ah, that guy got me. The guy that's walking in circles got me. Alrighty, that should be the last one we have to dodge. The guy sometimes gets me. I don't mash fast enough sometimes to get down there. So here's our plan. There's a big force field around Nocturne, and basically everybody works together, drills a little hole in it, and then Tails can fly right into the heart of Nocturne. And so we're at this citadel, and we have to work our way all the way to the top, to the throne room. And we also get a really bad rendition of the Sonic and Knuckles final boss music. Alright, and so here we have these 2 prefects that come out, Carbdus and Scala. If you know anything about Greek mythology, yeah, they're named after 2 pretty famous monsters. And our party splits into 2 again. So we want Big to go here, we want Cream to go here, actually, and we want Shadow to go there. Okay, and we want to buff defense as much as we possibly can. Especially for anyone that's going to be on Sonic's team. And then that's good. So we buff that. We want revive, and that's good. That's cool. Yeah, not named after Scholar from Chrono Trigger. That'd be cool though. Okay, now we sort out the equipment. Cursed gloves. Actually, not yet, huh? So, okay. So in this menu, we actually equip. Earth Ring should be on Sonic still. I don't know why it wasn't. That was weird. But anyway. So yeah, we have a split party here again. And then we're gonna start off with Sonic's side. So Carbdis runs away. We do have to chase after him. First we have to pop this door open. And the lock is right in here. Grab this. Has a Metamitter, has a Cure-All spray, which comes in handy as well. And also a Refresher Wave. This guy, please. Thank you. Man, he was really coming for me. Let's avoid that guy too. So now the party's gonna switch. 1, 2, and we're on the Knuckles side. So now we can menu and actually equip Cursed Gloves to Shade. Shadow is here basically for speed and moral support. So we encounter this little laser cannon right here. They can't get past it, so on the Sonic side we have to deactivate that before those guys can continue. And I didn't know about this exit for the longest time, so I used to take the long way around. But yeah, you can just exit out that door right there and fly over and like deactivate that. Yeah, so you're actually forced to take certain characters. Can we avoid this guy? I did. I actually avoided him this time. Okay, now we're gonna get into a scripted loss. So we come upon these Gizoid Centurions. They do ambush us. And unfortunately, we do have to last a couple rounds against them. So hopefully they're not too aggressive. Their power moves are really easy to dodge, but they can get aggressive. Yeah, I think they know now, the admins. But it's basically been like that the entire run. I don't think they want to like mess with it too much. The small screen isn't super important anyway. Yeah, absolutely. Their field abilities. Actually comes in real handy. Okay, so to actually deactivate those Gizoid Centurions, or at least their shields, we go back over to Sonic's side, and we have to scan a bunch of these guys. try to avoid him. Can we get back without an encounter? We did. It's good, 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 good. And I'm a big fan of going to the right nowadays. I used to go to the left and then go to the right. But you have a better chance to avoid that Gizoid if you go right than left. Even though when you come back it teleports you to the right anyway. So now we get back to these guys. And they're actually incredibly easy. So we just want to attack, and we can actually take them out without any boost at all. I do want to throw a health root onto Sonic, or onto Knuckles. Just in case. So the Knuckles side is actually rather easy, and this guy just knocked out big. Yeah, we don't need any rock salt or anything. Like, just the raw damage from the Echidna Rush. We'll just drop these guys to the ground. And it really doesn't matter, like, with the rest of the stuff. Really for the rest of the game. Which is not much, actually. So I want a menu right here because we get into a boss fight, like, pretty quickly here. So we want to make sure everybody... it's not what I meant to press. I want to make sure everybody's healed up. We have a health leaf, 12, 12, 12, 12, okay. So we just need to drop a Pal Drink onto Knuckles, and we're good. So once we climb up this wall, we're basically locked in. So Scala comes out, but we don't fight him just yet. Switches back over to the Sonic side. Oh, and we dodged that guy. And I like to go this way to avoid a possible encounter. Let's fly back across, and here we go. And it's really hard to dodge some of these guys here. Especially the guy on the other side of the speed zone. Oh, but I got it. Okay, now here's like the crappiest part of the game. So this chamber fills up with water. While you're underwater, you can't use any power moves. So I'm actually going to set up 2 safety saves here. Because if not, then you actually get into like a long, protracted conflict. If you run into any of the enemies down here. So let's go ahead and save there, and then I'm going to save closer to Carbdis himself, actually. So we need to go this way, and don't get hung up on the wall there, and go this way too. And these air bubbles actually restore our PP. So I'm just going to wait here to sit on full PP before we go over to Carbdis. So, you actually get set up into a really crappy situation here. So we have to go confront Carbdis. We have to survive against him for a few rounds, just like those Centurions, except he hits a lot harder. So these Psychic Waters actually help a lot. So Psychic Water raises your defense a really good amount, actually. So we want to make sure the entire team is covered and defending. Yeah, so sometimes it will just cause him to whiff, which is real good. Dang it. But he hit that Mighty Slash. Mighty Slash is probably the most difficult power move in the game to dodge. Also, his attack animations take the greater part of forever. It's good when he does immunity, though. Okay, I actually caught that one. And again, good for me. Yeah, that fight is, it sucks. But the situation our party is in right now is what we have to fight him with. So we're already fighting at a disadvantage, and he's really, really tough, actually. Unlike this fight, which is not tough whatsoever. So all we really have to do is... I don't think we even have to throw a Rock Salt on, but I do anyway. And for backup, I like to do a Battering Ram with Big. Comes in handy sometimes. Especially if I drop inputs on the Echidna Rush. Yeah, so Scala's a joke, actually. Big's actually going to finish him off here. So we get the 6th Chaos Emerald. Just keep buffing defense. And now we go back over to the Carbdis fight. I do want to actually set this up. There's a glitch that can happen after we fight Carbdis. It's a very beneficial glitch, to be quite honest. Let's see, 1414, we need that. Pile Candy. Okay, good. We want to make sure we're sitting on full resources. Yeah, we haven't figured out just yet what makes this glitch happen, but I actually got it in my PB. Alright, so hopefully we don't get ambushed here. Starting on a level playing field. So first thing I'm going to do is heal the party with a Meta Emitter. And then we're going to get right into hitting this dude with a Blue Bomber. And really, I like to have Cream as a back break here. The worst thing he can do is start off with Mighty Slash, which thankfully he didn't do. And we go for the Blue Bomber right away and don't wait for the buff. Just because you can try to get that weakened status on him right away. Just like that, actually. So I can drop this action. It's unnecessary at this point. And we do have a cure-all spray, just in case he tries to bust out with a Mighty Slash. Luckily I caught it. And I buff Amy just in case. Round 2, we are heavily in the advantage. And we're just gonna kick this dude to the curb now, basically. Maybe not. So, I do often forget that he has counter. And there's our 7th Chaos Emerald. And again, these stats really don't matter. Okay, so now we're going to go towards the final fight. We think it's tied. We think that glitch is actually tied to Knuckles moving right away. Or something with Knuckles. Anyway, we didn't get the glitch. What the glitch does is it allows you to skip this little overworld section. It doesn't save that much time, but it is kind of cool to see. Anyway, so you would get the dialogue that happens in this cutscene, like, basically right away, before you even move outside. And then you get teleported from where I was, indoors previously. You would get teleported from there to this place right here, which is Imperator X's throne room. Okay, back on the Sonic side. All we have to do really is, like, make it out of here, which is not too difficult. Then we end up at the top. Our party is full health, full PP, and we're going to go into the final fight. Of course, I get caught by this guy. We did get ambushed, so it's good. Oh, yikes. Okay, that's fine. Alrighty, let's do it then. So you have to fight Imperator X like 4 times. So you have to fight him with Knuckles' party, then you have to fight him with Sonic's party, and then you have to fight him again, and then you have to fight him again. Luckily for this portion, you only have to get his health down to 800 out of the 1600 that he has, so good halfway, which is not hard with Echidna Rush. And normally you would take out these power pylons on the side, but because the Echidna Rush ignores armor, we just go straight for him. And Meta Mitter actually sounds good. Then we use our Rock Salt. Defend, and Battering Ram right into him. And of course he kills Shadow. Oh, what? Okay. I got robbed, man. Yeah, so at any rate, we hit one of these refresher waves. We're actually gonna heal for a little, or defend for a little bit. We really just need these two alive, honestly. I am really glad that he hit Knuckles there. The drop was crucial, man. So that's the first half. Easy peasy. And I'm not sure, but I think his beam is actually, I think his beam actually ignores armor. In fact, I'm fairly sure that's correct. Okay, round 2. Sonic and his party jump down from the balcony, and we get right back into it. And we get zapped right off the bat, which is why we have meta emitters. Yeah, that's why we have meta emitters. I was actually thinking about using a rock salt there. There's not really a need for it though. And we're gonna blow kiss on Sonic, and we're gonna blow kiss on Amy herself. And that's why you use a meta emitter. What's weird about this game is that you don't get items that like refresh the entire party until you get like most of the way into the game. So he's got that weakened status on him, and really, really good for us. So reduces his damage by quite a bit. And then we get empowered state. We're gonna go straight in with another set of blue bombers. Okay, and we're pretty much gonna finish this up here. Another round of blue bombers. And one more for good measure. And again. And again. And this is going to finish him off here. So you can see, just did like 12 damage to him. So we must have inflicted weakness on him again. Alright, so we actually get to change our party here. Revive level 3, I guess. So we're actually going to bump up against Estimate. We might actually go like a minute or so over. Okay, so we do want Shade, we want Amy, and we want Shadow, actually, too. So this fight actually starts off with a chase sequence. And these orbs do like 25 damage if you smack into them. So really, they're no joke. But we've almost caught them. Shoot. It slowed us down, so we got to go for another cycle at least. There we go. So here's where we just go kind of crazy. So these guys actually have a weakness to Earth, and we're going to exploit that to the fullest extent. And we want to get rid of Imperator X first, actually. And so Shadow, what he's going to do is he's going to summon a Chaos Rift. So Chaos Rift, it usually is a one-hit KO, but with enemies this far into the game, it doesn't matter too much. I guess what I meant to say was it's not as effective. But you do actually inflict them with a status anomaly, which is great. And we basically just Blade Rush Imperator X. Sonic is going to weaken his minions. 1, 2. And then he's going to get stronger. Another Blade Rush. And Pure Rex is down, so we just have to take out his minions. So we're gonna serve up a fastball special to that guy. And then we're basically just gonna go all out with the attacks here. Two, three. Now we just have this guy, who's actually dazed, so his accuracy is lowered. And he has a counter, but at this point it doesn't really matter. Come on, Gizoid, you're making me look bad. There we go. Actually, we might skirt Esteban here. So, time's actually coming up. We have, like, the really trivial meme battle. So, if you've ever played Final Fantasy VII, you know, after the real battle happens, you have the little meme battle between Sephiroth and Cloud. Same thing happens here, except you turn into Supersonic. And time's going to be on the last hit of this guy. And really, it's just like one long power move. And it doesn't matter if you drop inputs on his, but you don't want to drop inputs on yours. And that's it. So there we go. That's Sonic Chronicles. So really, like, the end of this game, you defeat X, you get the Chaos Emeralds back, you get the Master Emerald back. But they really wanted this game to be a series, the likes of which could compete against Mario and Luigi. So they set this ending up to be a big cliffhanger. So Sonic goes back to his planet, but then they find out that time passes differently in the Twilight Cage. So they think they've been gone for like a few weeks, but they've actually been gone for years. And it's long enough for Eggman to take over the entire planet. So, yeah, we get left with that cliffhanger that never gets resolved, much like Mega Man Legends 2.
Well, GG, Smelly McTroll, that was a great run. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We are going to move on to Yakuza 6, The Song of Life by Frub McGuffin soon. However, we're going to do a quick restream change, so stream will go down briefly. Do not panic, do not run away. Just go get a drink or something, come right back, and we'll be ready to go with the next game. So I am done here for the night. Thank you guys for having me. We'll see you back here. Well, I'll see you back here in a few hours tomorrow, but other than that, take care of yourselves. Good luck, and yeah, we're just going to come back right in a